Awesome. Okay, if there's any questions, like, fire away.
So if I'm a freshman coming in to the career fair and I walk up to a recruiter, should I just mention it right away that I'm a freshman, or will that kind of, should I wait until they ask what I am, or just avoid the subject maybe?
I recommend you waiting to say that you're a freshman. Try to get as much information as you can about internship opportunities that they have and what you can apply for and what you may be eligible for now. Save the I'm a freshman type of statement for like later on in that conversation. Otherwise, they will kind of turn you away a little bit earlier than you would like. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, and I think going off that, I definitely agree with that. We might get into this in another question, but don't necessarily just start off talking to a recruiter with, hi, I'm freshman major, this is what I want. Like, try to make a relationship with them in that first 15 seconds, see how they're doing, maybe like comment on something about their company, and then kind of just make it more of a casual conversation than just like rattling off like what you are as a student. And then hopefully they'll ask for your resume, they'll look at it, and they'll be seeing so many resumes in different graduation years that they'll notice that you're a freshman, most likely, since it should be at the top of your resume. And then they might lead off into that and say, oh, it was great to get to know you, we don't have any opportunities for freshmen. Or they will like say, oh, check out this leadership conference or this internship opportunity we have. So then kind of just roll with it from there.
Yeah, so this is kind of like a follow-up question what he asked. So like at the fall career fair, I remember there were companies I went up to and I like had really good like conversations with the people there. But like as soon as they heard like I was a freshman, like later on they were like, oh yeah, we're actually not looking for freshmen right now, but I do like to consider you for like later when you're a sophomore or junior or something like that. So I think like those like early conversations really do help out.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna ask if you guys were ever asked like an unexpected question at the career fair during like an interview, and how you kind of respond or prepare for something like that.
I can take part of this. I don't know that in a job interview I've necessarily been asked kind of one of those off-the-wall questions, but for interviews for student organizations on campus I have, and I think the best way to approach that is just to think on your feet, because that's what they're testing. If they're asking like your favorite color or something really random, they're not gonna like mark you off if you say red and they, you know, their personal favorite is blue. It's just that they want to see that you can think on your feet and be creative.
Yeah, I would echo that as well. I would say I've had one experience in an interview where the question I would say I wasn't prepared for, he kind of asked me, I'm opening a restaurant, what are 3 questions that you would want to ask me in order to be like most prepared for opening this restaurant? And I think, you know, when you get asked a question like that, you obviously have never practiced anything like that. So the best thing you can do, I would say, is take your time. There's no need to rush into answering, and really just they want to see how you think, right? In that kind of question, there's no objectively correct answer. They just want to know, like, how would you find the most encompassing thing to help that person? So.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I agree with the giving. It's okay if you say, I've had in a few job interviews questions that I wasn't expecting, like give me an example of this. None of the crazy consulting questions, because accounting majors usually don't get those, thank goodness. But I've had the questions like that have maybe like a personal situation I've been in, and I've just been like, oh, could I have a few minutes to think about that? And I've never had an issue with them saying no or wanting like me to go quickly. So if you need time to think of a real good example, that's okay too.
I think kind of going off the career, let's say it happens at the career fair, and that's really like on your feet, like you don't necessarily have 2 minutes to think of it. Let's say, and it won't necessarily be an interview question, but maybe something like you just didn't read the job description correctly, or there's another job that they're recruiting for and they say something about it. Just be honest, be like, oh, I didn't know you were recruiting for position X. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? And then even if that kind of follow-up question isn't helping you a ton, while they're talking, you can be thinking about, okay, how do I get out of this? What can I say? That sort of thing. So.
Have any of you ever had like a negative experience with a recruiter, like maybe they like brushed you aside or rejected you? How did you handle that? And then did you go back later and try to rekindle the relationship, or did you just kind of leave it?
Yeah, and going off that, like, you just kind of have to just focus on, okay, this is a normal thing, but let's say it's they like actually just brush you off at like the career fair. I know that's happened to me before. They like take the resume, like, oh, we'll be in contact, and just put it in. They're like, okay, we're done. What you need to do there is maybe they just like read part of your resume, like, oh, this person's great, like I don't even talk to them, or maybe they just aren't looking for your major, your year, whatever it might be. What I'd recommend is see if you can send the conversation a little bit, but don't try too hard. If they clearly don't want to talk, just say, oh, have a great day, and then either reach out to them if you're able to get a card by email, or maybe even send them a in-mail message on LinkedIn. Great meeting you today. Hope you'll consider my resume, because even if they might respond to that, and that's great, but there's no harm in taking that initiative to put something in their inbox.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I mean, I've been to probably 4 or 5 career fairs by now, and I really don't know what I want to do in my future, so when I go, I spend basically all day there just talking to as many companies as I can, and there's definitely conversations that don't go well. And I think, you know, like Matt said, following up is a great thing, but there are going to be conversations that you have that just don't go well. It's impossible to avoid. So the thing is, just maintain your confidence. If you let it get to you and start thinking that you don't have the ability to talk to recruiters or can't build those relationships, it will make your day a lot harder. So really just, if you need a second to just like recuperate yourself and say, okay, I can do this, because sometimes you do need to just say, like, motivate yourself at the career fair. So just take that time to recollect and determine, maybe here's what I went wrong, or maybe I could have connected with them on a different point.
And the other flip side of that too is that it's just maybe the recruiter's having a bad day, or maybe they're just really tired. So maybe if you restart again in an hour or so and you talk to a different recruiter, you might have a completely different experience. So don't decide against a certain company because of a conversation.
Yeah, go to your favorite. Go to your have a. Going off the recruiter might be tired. Go to your few practice companies first, like right when the career fair starts, when maybe people are still like finishing setting up, and then the moment like everyone's in full recruitment mode, your first companies after those like warm-ups need to be your number ones, because if they're filling up interview spots or something, you'll be in first in line for those. And then also that tiredness factor is a big deal, because if you think about how long the career fair is and like how much like they're talking to each student, it's pretty taxing on somebody.
For follow-ups, do you recommend the email or the LinkedIn email?
Email if you have it, but a lot of times you might not be able to find their email, and then that's when I would go to LinkedIn, because then you're making that effort to follow up still.
And then along with that, how do you know when it is the right time to follow up with someone? Say you, like in a career fair situation, like how would you know which companies to follow up with? Or like if you went to a company info session, how do you know which ones to follow up with?
In my opinion, I don't really think you can like limit yourself in terms of who you want to follow up with. I mean, if it's a company that you're really interested in and you think you had a good conversation with them and that there's a lot of potential there, obviously that's a company you want to follow up on. But like Matt said, if something goes wrong, but you think that there's still a chance that there could be a relationship there, it's always safe to follow up. And LinkedIn's always easy too. I mean, you can find their name, and it's pretty easy to search it.
Yeah. I think if you went to like, I don't know how many, 98 companies, if you went to every single one, it wouldn't hurt to follow up to every single recruiter you talk to. But to prioritize that, you go, let's say you have 10 that you're really interested in, make sure you follow up with those, and then any that you had a conversation with. So like if you're in an information session, don't follow up to a recruiter that stood at the front and you sat in the back and you came in late and then left immediately. But if you went up and talked to them, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm very interested in your company, that's great to follow up with them, probably that night before the career fair, if it is one of the info sessions beforehand, because then you can kind of make sure you're in that recruiter's mind and say, oh, hey, it was great meeting you yesterday. And that's a very easy way to like not have to deal with that awkward, like, hello, I'm so-and-so at the career fair. So that's really what I do. I try to go to companies where I already have a contact, so I don't have to worry about being awkward at the actual career fair.
And I would also recommend to follow up, like email or LinkedIn within 24 hours of the actual career fair. You don't exactly want to wait the whole weekend because they will have moved on, probably.
I also like to take kind of a break between each company. So instead of waiting till the end to be like, who was the person I talked to at Deloitte, take a step back after each company, write down what you thought, what you talked about, something to email them about, their name if you need to look them up on LinkedIn, and then kind of prepare and get ready for the next one as well.
And always ask for their business card. That way you can actually have their email.
Yeah, it's always helpful.
So I have a two-part question. So have a lot of you guys participated in case competitions? And secondly, do you also feel like participating in a lot of case competitions, and let alone winning them too, has led to success in finding these internship offers or job offers?
Yeah, so I think most of us have done case competitions, but I've done a lot of case competitions. I did a lot of my, probably not understatement. Who knows, maybe I'm scarred from that. No, they are the #1 best experience to get if you don't have an internship. So this wasn't my freshman year, but my sophomore year. I studied abroad after my freshman year because I didn't get an internship for that summer. So I didn't have experience, and I was interviewing with a consulting firm, which honestly I was just trying to make connections for the next summer. But they really, really liked my case competition experience, and I was able to, I guess at the time, articulate it into, well, I know this isn't real world, but I have this like foundation that I can build on, and I think that's what you're looking for in an intern. So being able to have that experience and then communicate to recruiters and saying, I know it's not like a job, but I have done this case competition, and it was a team of 5, and it was 2 weeks, and these competitors, and we did this, this, and this, and all of that, and be able to tell them about that, that really catches recruiters' eyes, because a lot of people don't have that on their resume.
I think a cool thing about case competitions too